Hi, my name is Keith. I'm with All Pro Forks. Today we're going to be installing a 2,500 pound bucket fork kit on our 2019 John Deere compact tractor. Okay, so with everything in welding, preparation is key. With each 2,500 pound kit, you will receive 3 J-hooks, 1 shaft, 2 forks, and the keepers that go at the end of the shaft. All of our J-hooks are cut out on our CNC plasma cutter and are ground to a rough finish. I like to make a little bit more of a finish on mine, so I bevel all the edges and remove the grayscale before we begin. Okay, so before we begin, I'm going to go ahead and prep our J-hooks. I'm going to remove all the grayscale and put a nice finished bevel around all the edges. So to ensure good weld quality, what I like to do is on the bottom side of the hook that's going to be touching the bucket, I like to put a nice bevel. Product should look something like this. Maybe y'all can see that. Nice and shiny, bevel, ready for welding. Repeat this 3 times, you'll be ready to prep your bucket. So here what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of mock up our hooks. We're not taking any measurements. We're not putting the bar in. We're just gonna see where we need to grind the paint off of the bucket. Okay, so on this particular bucket, our bucket is wider than the provided shaft. That's not a problem, that's no big deal. The bucket's just wider than the shaft. The shaft is 54 inches long, Looks like my bucket's somewhere around 66 inches. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our tape measure and we're going to make sure that we're a set distance from each end, symmetrically equal. So here we've got 8 inches. We'll set this other to 8 inches. So we're at 8 inches. Okay, so here we have a 61¼ inch bucket. So what we're going to do is we are going to find the center of 61¼ inches. Sounds to me like that would be 30 5/8. We're going to make our mark at 30 5/8. Now to find the center of our shaft, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure the overall length of the shaft, 54 inches. 54 divided by 2 is 27 inches. This allows you to center the shaft on the bucket. So now we know exactly where to grind. So whenever I do mine, I leave 1 inch from basically from this edge of the hole to this base of the hook. Okay, so after you've got your rough spacing on your hooks, what you're going to do is you're going to prep your bucket. You basically want to grind off all the paint where you're going to weld the hooks. Once you've got the paint ground off where your hooks are going to sit, you're ready to start setting the hooks. Okay, so once you've got the bucket prepped and ground, you're going to set your hooks. I like to set my center hook first. Center hook, center of the shaft, shaft in the center of the bucket. go ahead and tack this hook on. Once the hook is tacked on the back, you're going to want to grab a square and square your hook to make sure everything looks straight. I like to heavy tack them, start the tractor, pick the forks up, make sure that they're set how I want them to be set. You don't want to weld it if they're crooked, if they're not touching it in all the 3 points. So right now that's what we'll do. This is a pretty thin bucket. I'm going to use 3/32 70/18. We're just going to throw a root around the whole clip.